And Representative George Santos of New York, who fabricated his biography, poses a threat to national security and should not have access to sensitive information. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise of Louisiana says Republicans will handle the matter internally.
So we're going to have to sit down and talk to him about it, and that's something that we're going to deal with, just like there's a lot of other things we're going to deal with.
Finally, former chief financial officer for the Trump Organization, Alan Weisselberg, was sentenced to 5 months in jail after serving as a key witness in the criminal tax fraud trial against the former president's business empire. Weisselberg, who agreed to testify against the Trump Organization in return for a shortened sentence, pleaded guilty to 15 counts of tax evasion. I'm Catherine Carley for Pacifica Network and Public News Service. Find our 8 trust indicators to support transparency and accuracy at publicnewsservice.org.
Good morning. It's KCHW 102.7. Getting started on a Wednesday morning with the one, the only Mike Benz.
Hey, good morning to you.
All
Hey,
right.
the sun's starting. Well, actually, the fog or the clouds are starting to come up.
Looks kind
I
of
can
dark.
see
It
the
looks kind of
trees.
dark in your office there, buddy.
It does.
Yeah.
Boy, I got all my lights on.
All right, like a nighttime broadcast. I like it.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
It is a nighttime. This is delayed. It's a conspiracy theory that we're on in the morning.
yes. I jumped onto the webcam up there at the golf course area, right there at the airport, and it doesn't look like you got any new snow overnight, anyways.
Nope.
All right.
We got a little bit of a skiff. I don't know, night before last.
All right.
But when it gets up to like almost 40 degrees every day, it doesn't stay very long.
Well, you're looking at 37 today, cloudy skies. Snow showers are possible this morning at 50%. Might be mixed with rain. Let's see, tonight, mainly cloudy. Mixture of rain and snow, 31 for an overnight low. Precipitation at 30%. For your Thursday, rain snow mix, high of 39, low of 38. Nothing sticking in the valleys. 80% chance of rain tomorrow. 25% chance for Friday with a high of 45. 45.
Get out the sunscreen.
That's right. 39 for an overnight low. Weekend looking rainy as well. 50% chance on Saturday, 42 and 38. 50% chance on Sunday, 41 and 34. And right now, the same deal for Monday. 50% chance of rain, 40 and 33 for the high and low. You guys, after that hard winter, it's slowly melting away, huh?
It is, although I don't know, it's not melting very fast. Yeah, so that tells me it probably has a lot of water content.
Hmm?
And then, of course, it froze. So you can almost walk on top of it. And it's still, at least in my yard, it's probably still a good 15, 18 inches deep in a lot of spots.
That's a good thing, though, and a slow melt's a good thing, too.
Right.
All right,
Right.
breakfast and lunch today for breakfast: mini chinny cereal, fresh fruit choice, and fruit juice and milk choice. Excuse me. Then moving on to lunch for today, the 11th. I messed up. I opened up, and I can't fix it right now. I opened up December's. So yeah. Usually they're the same. Like last week, I remember it was chicken noodles for Wednesday. In December, I guess on this one would have been maybe corn dog, but I can't verify that. I'll try to fix that for you.
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise food. And then real quick before we get started with Mike, friend was telling me I was lucky I wasn't flying today because airplanes had been grounded across the country. And that's always a scary thing to wake up to. What did we have, a terrorist attack? Why are all the airplanes across
Right.
the country grounded? It was a computer outage through the FFA. They have a thing that's like your time to fly. and pilots have to check in with that. It's like a national thing. And so about 7:20 this morning, their computers were down. They grounded all flights trying to get off the ground. That started resuming at various spots around the country at 9 a.m. Eastern, so things should be okay. But if you are flying out today, you might check for some flight delays because some 4,000 flights got canceled this morning or delayed. So that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That is a
So
lot.
so when you're coming, you're flying, right?
I am.
Ah, okay, okay. So just be prepared. Just in today's world, it might take you a couple of days to get here and a couple of days to get home.
Yes. You couldn't drive it. That's like a week. So I drove
Yeah.
North Dakota for here, and I did it. I mean, I drove hard, 4 hour naps, that kind of stuff, because I went halfway and stopped and seen my mom, and just that halfway trip and driving hard, still having to go slow because I was in an RV. I think it was 3 days, and I drove so hard when I got here. I mean, I was getting shaky. I was loopy. It was kind of weird.
Hmm.
So I don't think I'll ever do that again. Drive
No
that hard.
can
Drive that hard
no
anyways.
cannonball runs to Chihuahua.
No, no, no. And then, if you had a couple people with you so you could swap up the driving, that would probably
Right.
be okay. But
Yeah.
other than that, it gets kind of rough and scary.
Ah.
Sorry, having
Okay.
problems with my microphone this morning. So there you go. Seven. I pulled up the number here. 700 flights canceled, and that warning system that they have to use is called NOTAM. NOTAM.
Ah.
Contains information essential to workers involved in flight operations. It's operations across national airspace, something like that. All right.
Okay.
Got a few other news stories. Mega Ball numbers. Get your tickets out or write this down. Mega Ball numbers from last night. Nobody won. Next drawing is going to be like 1.5 billion, they're guessing. Crazy. 7, 13, 14, 15, and 18. Who would have guessed that?
Yeah.
With a mega ball of 9 and a multiplier of 3. The jackpot was estimated last night at 1.1 billion with a cash option of 576 million. We did a pool because we figured that's enough for everybody.
So have you bought a Mega Bowl ticket?
I have, but like I
Ah.
said, no winner last night, so there's
Okay.
$6 out the window. I got to check them though. Maybe I got 4 out of 5 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think I read something the other day that they still, not this one, but the one before, they had like 300 and some odd winners. They just weren't the big pot.
Sure. So you
So
could still end up with $100,000, $1 million or something like that.
right, exactly.
Enough to last you at least 3 months in the new economy.
Or at least two dozens of eggs.
Yeah, those eggs are getting expensive. I've got another story if we have time. It's all the things to expect to not be able to find in 2023, and it's kind of a scary list. We'll try to work that in later in the show. Fun one before we
Okay.
get started was a video that went viral for prizes at work. Have you ever, you've had a lot of worked in positions where you had people under you. Did you ever do prizes and incentives? I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I mean, not too often, but occasionally we did, kind of like almost like a white elephant type thing,
Okay.
and they were a lot of fun, but we were a financial services firm, so it was pretty stiff.
Sure. It does not sound
You
fun
know,
at all. Well, I've worked at businesses before where maybe they had some kind of competition or a prize or, best
right.
salesman, that kind of stuff. So somebody posted a viral one, and it was their job giving out a prize to workers that have been doing a good job. And the prize, and this is why it went viral, the prize was an extra 10-minute break.
Well, I guess depending on where you work, that might be a really good prize.
Well, it was a law firm, which makes it even, kind of back to that stiff thing you said. But yeah, they won
Right.
They won an extra 10-minute break. But there were some rules that followed this, and they actually posted this online, and that's why people went crazy. Rule number 1, give at least 24 hours notice for your 10-minute break. Number 2, do not have to pick the same day that you won the prize. Number 3, it cannot be added to your regular break to make a 20-minute break. Number 4, expires within 30 days. And number 5, choose wisely. What a jerk.
Have you ever worked where there were mandatory breaks?
No.
Neither have I, actually.
No. Yeah, and it's a law, and I've never worked anywhere that handed them out. It's kind of
Yeah,
like
it is a law. I mean, we were just going through our employee manual for the golf course, and it's in there. I mean, because it is a law. I think every 4 hours you have to take at least a 15-minute break.
Yeah.
And and the restaurant's tough to do that in.
You never know when you're going to get a crowd, all that kind of stuff, and you're going to need
Right,
that
exactly.
person on board and ready. Yeah.
Well, and I think a lot of employees they don't like that mandatory aspect of 15 minutes. They'd like to know it's available and they'd like to take it, but being told at 10:15 you got to go take a break.
Yeah.
Just doesn't.
Might not work in with what you're doing. You need sometimes you need a little flexibility. This person got really upset by it. They said this reward, and they put it in quotations, was in fact incredibly demoralizing for the employees, and she quit shortly after.
So she took a permanent break.
Yeah, she said for several of the employees there, it was the last straw.
It must be a great place to work.
Yeah. So careful what kind of a work environment you're creating. Some other, just a couple other people. One other guy, a couple people also posted things below it, and one of them was kind of cute. He says, "My girlfriend at a time worked with me in the same department in the same position. She won Employee of the Year and got $1,000 of swag, 2 weeks vacation, and a crystal statue and nationwide recognition." Probably through within the company, right? Employee of the Year. Says the following year he won it, and he was given a $50 check and a hard hat with coupons for fast food joints and a printed certificate.
It must have been going through a downsizing.
Yeah. Somebody else posted, "I once got a certificate for Jeans Day, and that meant you got to wear jeans to work one day."
Well, the company I worked for used to have Jeans Day, like one Friday a month.
Sure.
In the corporate offices, because I was out in the field. They had no idea whether I was in jeans or nothing. So, but
some places would call them dress down day, where you can wear a pair of shorts or a pair of jeans. I always wanted to, I worked at a place like that where Friday, casual Friday or whatever. I always wanted to go, is this loincloth casual enough?
Leave your Speedo at the door.
Yes. All right. I got some other stuff, but it might be a little more serious. Let's keep going with the light goodies. And that's Mike and our non-profit roundup we always do on Wednesdays. Where do you want to start today, Mike? I'm going to drink coffee.
I'm going to start today with my dad jokes. Remember, I told you I would have some dad jokes.
Oh, excellent dad jokes! Let me get the drum rolls and the sound effects for the bad ones. There you go. All right, I'm ready.
Okay, this first one really fits you. Okay, Scott, why wouldn't the lobster share in his treasure?
I don't know.
Because he was a little shellfish.
Little shellfish. Okay.
Okay, why did the little girl cross the playground?
I don't know.
To get to the other slide. Okay, all right. This one also kind of fits you. Why was the cat ill?
I have no idea.
Because he wasn't feline very well.
All right.
Okay, you just got a couple more. Why was that dog called Rolex?
I don't know.
Because he was the watchdog.
That's actually, now I want to get a watchdog and name him Rolex.
And my last dad joke for the day. What's the most musical bone?
I have no idea.
The trombone.
I was gonna say that, but I thought that was too simple
Oh,
for your
okay.
quiz.
Well, you got
All
to
right.
remember where it's coming from.
Oh, that's right. All right, dad jokes. Mike Benz.
So we can make that a fixture every week for a while.
Okay, excellent. I like that.
Okay.
Can I
All
drink my
right.
coffee now?
You can. Yep.
Okay, I was afraid you might make me spit it out my nose. All right.
Oh, that's right. Because you can see you do that now.
Yes. Makes a mess on the screen. All right, where are we starting today, Mike?
Okay. Well, let's start with the quick ones first, and then we'll move into the Winterfest. So, the chamber. Just to remind everybody that the annual home show is coming up. It'll location and times to be announced, but it's going to be at the end of March. So, and that's a great time, especially if you're brand new to the community, get introduced to the community because the nonprofits are there, various businesses are there. They serve the hamburgers. I mean, it's always been a sold out home show since I've been here. So that's been 10 years, right in that period of time. And it's from a personal standpoint, it's one of the ways that Loretta and I got kind of plugged into the community because like I didn't know hardtails exist, and now all of a sudden hardtails at the home show, and I've got my big boy store.
Nice.
Toy store. So I was at a plug for one of our sponsors.
There you go. Can I drive that tractor?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Where I'll go, I need one of those.
Yes.
Super Azu 4,000 mile per hour blowers. So
have you seen
anyways,
my cat?
That's coming up. Go ahead.
Have you seen the cat?
No.
Your snowblower. Careful. You got to be careful. You might fuck up something you don't
I got
want
a
to.
dog that way too, by the way.
All right.
You have to go look for the dog. Then I always want to remember everybody that chamber bucks are still available, and they can be available at the chamber office in normal business hours in any denomination, and can be used for a variety of things and never expire.
Yes.
So if you got some chamber bucks left over, you can, when you come to visit, you can use them.
Okay. I did, and I spent all mine before I left.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the golf course real quick. The Rusty Putter, just to remind people, it's open every weekend, Friday and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., unless there happens to be a Gonzaga or a Seahawks game playing at 1 o'clock, then they extend the hours until the end of the game.
Good deal.
And there's a couple of things happening up there. They've been running specials every weekend. You can pick those specials up by going to the Rusty Putter Facebook page. And they're listed. And I visited with Sean over this last week, and they've been practicing with the smoker because, as I think I mentioned last week, we got a new smoker, so we're going to bring on some smoked items on the menu. So far, the biggest hit, well, the two biggest hits have been pulled pork, which doesn't surprise me. But the other one is drunken chicken enchiladas, which is basically beer can chicken.
Okay.
done in a smoker.
Okay.
They're really, the problem with using a smoker is, of course, it takes time. So everything is pre-planned. And when they offer it, it's what I would say a limited quantity. It's really going to be a nice addition because you cannot get that anywhere else in Chihuahua.
Wow.
Snow sports are still available up here. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we have somewhere between 12 and 15 inches of snow on the ground up here. So cross-country skiing, sledding, and snowshoeing. We want people to come to the clubhouse. All the parking lots are plowed, and that's where you need to park. Stop in the clubhouse. You can get a map. You can get kind of a rules of using it because it is private property, but we open it to the public. So we want to make sure we kind of know who's on the course, from that perspective. And, if somebody calls in looking for Scott, we can say, well, Scott signed in. He's out on the course, that type of thing. So
you might not be able to see him because he usually falls through the snow.
That's right. So, but that's all becoming available then. And so let's move on to, let's see, I got my list here. It's a big list as normal. To the Chihuahua Center for the Arts, the Stage Time Theater School, the youth edition, that all started on January 11th. And for the SpongeBob the Musical, so look forward to the opening of SpongeBob the Musical, and maybe you could do a cameo virtually.
Ooh.
Oh, you ever thought about that?
Spin it around town. All right. That's for any SpongeBob fans out there.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. And then this coming Saturday on the 21st, or on the 13th, I'm sorry. That's just Friday, right? I'll get my dates right.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
And for SpongeBob, today's the first day.
Today's the first day?
Yeah, the 11th. Okay.
The 11th. Okay. There's Nothing to Lose Productions is doing their singer series for people 21 or older. So stop by and see what they're doing. They're going to do Chihuahua Blues. Or you can get it at our show /Chihuahua/blues or at the door. And the other night, I hadn't listened for a long time, but the other night I listened to the blues on KCHW 102.7.
Okay.
And it was really enjoyable. I don't know how that's mixed every week or whether, that's done, but boy, in fact, I sat in my truck before I came in the house and listened to it for a while.
Doug does it live every Wednesday, 8 to 10. Doug McQuain.
Okay. So it's custom built basically every week.
Yeah, custom built for Chihuahua each week.
Oh, I'm going to highly recommend people, take that, and because it was really, really great.
All right. Well, that's a good plug.
And
so he calls it Dirt Road Blues, and it's on every Wednesday night from 8 to 10 with Doug McQuain.
Okay, and then we move on to the Park Avenue Players, and we have the play coming up starting on February 3rd. Love Lies on the Doctor's Dilemma, the biography or autobiography of Scott Allen. So,
I wish I was a doctor.
Oh, okay. But anyway, just to point out that our own Chuck Ritchie is in this play. In fact, he couldn't make it to the board meeting last night for the Creative District because they're sharpening their skills and brushing up the play.
All right.
Let's see. We've got February coming with the Singer Series again. And then starting in early March, the Park Avenue Players are going to start auditioning for the play 9 to 5. And that, I think, is what I've got, unless you've got some other PSAs as far as the Chihuahua Center for the Arts. But as usual, jam-packed with lots of stuff to do.
Yeah. The only thing I would add to your list is that theater school. I'm going to get the times up here. Stage Time Theater School, SpongeBob. Let's see. Classes start today. Grade school at 3:15. Junior, senior high students at 5:15. So 3:15 and 5:15. They've got those divided up to. You got to control those the littler animals. So there's that one, and then if I back up, there was one on the calendar from Woodlands, and don't want to get too ahead of things. That was the 13th, so this coming Friday, called Root and Reflection, and it's a musical performance going on at Woodlands. That starts at 7 o'clock, to give them a little plug too.
And Woodlands in Kettle Falls, correct?
Correct. And 3 to 5 today at the library, in-person weekly technical help. There you go.
Ooh, okay.
All right.
And I really want to point that out, that one of the things that even today that I get asked, which is sad, is for technical help. And you have it right at your fingertips with, down at the library. So if you can go down and they'll pretty much take care of anything as far as technical help goes.
Yeah.
So, and there's no charge.
That's the best part, right?
That's right. Okay.
Who wants to pay for it?
Yep. And then coming up on January 21st, we have the Creative District is putting a gallery presentation together of local artists at the golf course called Light into Darkness. It's going to be from 2 in the afternoon until 6:30. There'll be music and specials on the Rusty Putter side. And I got the list of artists yesterday. And I'm looking down through this list, and there's people in here that there's 13 of them, by the way.
Okay.
I mean, this is going to be a great showing. I was just logistically put 13 artists in there, and our display racks and everything else. I told last night, I'd say there's going to be 96 feet of art at the clubhouse. Because that's about what it's going to take to get everybody set up and their art hung and stuff like that. But, we got people in there like Mark Maxwell and Margot Setti and Jamie Thompson and John Lynn Cassidy and Becky Goforth and Wendy Semenza and Thundercloud Dancer. I mean, K.S. Brooks that's the first time I've seen her in actually a showing. So it's very diverse, and we're really looking forward to it. In fact, like anything, Scott, we were wondering if we were getting RFPs back, people that were interested, how that goes. And then within the last couple of days before the end, we just got flooded.
Boom, right?
And that's a Saturday afternoon. Weather will not create a problem because the parking lots are all they're all plowed and the parking can be there. So we're really encouraging people to come up and take a look at some of your local artists, because all these artists by definition are local, and they all belong to the Creative District. So, I want to kind of keep that in mind. And then if we move on to Winterfest, we have Winterfest for the Arts, and that's being juried as we speak, because all of the artwork had to be in as of last Friday. And that's Tim Nielsen at our Trails End Gallery, one of our favorite people we have on the air. And maybe I'll see if I can get him on the air next week to kind of talk about what that is. But it's the 4th annual Winterfest for the Arts in Chihuahua. And of course, that is now being joined with Chihuahua Winterfest, which is coming up on February 4th. In Chihuahua Winterfest, they're starting to firm up the schedule on that. I'm going to a meeting at noon today to get it caught up, but there's going to be a chili cook-off. They're going to have the community center open, so there'll be a chili cook-off in there. There's 20 entrants. There's a rail jam. It's going to be at City Hall. We have the Chihuahua Mountain of Snow sitting there that's going to be all laid out for that. There's going to be skijoring, as far as it's to be an exposition anyway for this year, out behind Mountain Market in that big field. And for those of you who don't know what skijoring is, it's actually, my familiar, it's a cousin of mine where skiers are pulled behind a horse. But I was actually informed the other day that it could also be dogs that pull skiers behind them. But in this particular case, I'm sure it's going to be the horse. There's going to be an ice skating, weather allowed. Based on your forecast, that might be a little bit on the wet side, but hopefully we'll get cold area by the time that. And then some other children's activities in that big lawn area by City Hall that are being put together.
I just don't recommend what we used to do in North Dakota in children, and that was mom would take our, I don't know what they weighed, like a 10-ton 1970 Buick LeSabre 4-door, and she'd tie the water skiing ropes to the back bumper and then pull us across the lake on ice skates behind the car.
See, I used to this is probably child abuse, but I used to pull my kids behind a Blazer on sleds, kind of the same thing. So they'd probably get thrown in jail if you got caught doing that today.
That kind of stuff today, yeah. Don't forget you can pull stuff behind a snowmobile too, just saying.
Just saying. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, maybe we ought to have skijoring with snowmobiles.
Ooh, there you go.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, we used to get really creative out behind the Chihuahua Motel back when it was the 49er when I was a kid. And it was all fields back there. The apartment complex wasn't there. And we'd bust open hay bales and make jumps. And then we'd tie sleds to the back of the snowmobiles. And, if you hit it just right and you got your turn just right, you could launch somebody over one of those hay bales. And, yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah,
you know what? Today people frown at that kind of. You think about all the ways, us and probably maybe even you more so jeopardized our lives for a little excitement as children that people would never do today.
Oh yeah, yeah. You think about that in the wintertime. We used to take old car hoods and go up to the top of fairly large hills and then basically sled down on car heads.
Oh yeah.
I mean, which, you got hindsight, what a way to get maimed or killed.
That's like I would take the kids up to the cemetery, which is a really
Uh,
dangerous place to sled. All the
that's right.
headstones, but good hills.
Anyway, on getting back to Winterfest, I'll know more a little bit today for next week, but it looks like we're going to have food vendors. I know the Rusty Putter is going to be a food vendor on the street. They're also going to be inside the Huff building. And as far as the creative district is concerned, we're actually going to team up with the Arts Guild, and our activity for the day inside the Huff Cultural Center will be a community mosaic. And so basically, it'll be a mosaic on 4x4 tiles that the community will actually build individually. And then once that's done, those tiles will be mounted. And then the way we envision it is once it's all set up and go, it'd be like a traveling exhibit. So it could be in the Huff building, it could be in City Hall, it could be in Washington Federal, it could be in a variety of different locations. And really the only theme that we're putting on it is it's got to be Chihuahua centric. It'll have a kind of a background on it, and that's right now still a point of discussion. But let's say Quartzsite Mountain is the washed out on the background, and then all the tiles will be numbered, so you'll know what colors to use in that particular area of the background. So it's really, really pretty cool. And thanks to Jamie Thompson and Lori Ritchie for putting that together. And that, to me, it will be a great activity. In fact, I had to order the material, and we ordered 96 times 3. So what's that? 188 tiles. Great fun activity. And then at the same time, the Arts Guild will be in with us doing their community quilt that they do pretty much every year as a fundraiser. And so people will be able to come in and kind of patchwork the quilt. And then that's part of the process they'll do. And then they'll put all those patchworks together, build the quilt, and that'll be a fundraiser for them. And then just so people can get it on their calendar, the Arts Guild is going to have their annual art show in mid-February, and the dates on that will be the 17th, 18th, and 19th. It'll be in the Civic Center, and it'll be in the afternoon on Friday and Saturday, and then same thing in the afternoon on Sunday, but a shorter period of time. And not only will be the quilts, but it'll also we're actually going to help them put an RFP out for artists this coming week. So it'll be another accumulation of local artists. And this is where the schools get involved. And so there'll be a section in there involving what the various art classes in the school does. So lots of things going on as far as that goes. And if you haven't, I know Facebook is not for everybody, but if you have access to Facebook, the Chihuahua Center for the Arts has a lot of that stuff. The Chihuahua Creative District has a lot of that stuff. And then the Chihuahua Festival Association has a website, or not a website, a Facebook page that will be continually putting more and more items on board. So 49 Degrees North is a primary sponsor for the Winterfest. And so there'll be some things they'll be doing involving the ski hill, but down in Chihuahua. It looks like Main Street is going to be closed in the afternoon on February 4th. So it'll be a little bit more conducive for people walking around downtown, and a fair number of the businesses are going to be open and doing kind of their own thing relative to Winterfest. So
Well, that's good for the festival too, is you'll be blocking all the skiers from getting out of town.
that's true. Good point. But it's what we're end up doing is we're building a series of festivals for the entire year to primarily. Chautauqua is just not going to happen for all kinds of logistical reasons. But and actually, I think this is healthier because it have ongoing events throughout the year, which leads me to the Downtown Strategies Initiative. The committee that I'm involved with there is developing festivals, tourism, and promotion of Chihuahua. And hopefully this Friday, we'll nail down what we're going to recommend as far as festivals throughout the year. We've got them pretty well laid out. And then the goal based on Downtown Strategies input was to have 5 of those per year. So right now you're going to have your Fall Fest. You're going to have a Holiday Fest, for lack of a better term, the city sidewalks, farmers market, creative district thing with Chuville. You're going to have a Winter Fest. And then we're looking at potentially doing a summer concert series tied to the park, because there's so many individual events in the park. Instead of doing just one, it's how do you complement each one of those? Another idea out there will be a Huckleberry Fest in July, early August, and we already have 49 degrees north to get behind that, because that's a pretty popular area for people to go get huckleberries, of course. So hopefully I'll have more information on that next Wednesday. All the banners through town are being redesigned. There's a request for proposal out on those. We're trying to encourage local artists or graphic artists to submit their thoughts on what those banners ought to look like. There will be a $500 prize for the one that's picked. Those proposals have to be into the info@chewila.org, which is the chamber's email. And those have to be in by the 20th of January. So that date's coming up pretty quick. And then they'll be assembled, and probably in the Civic Center would be my guess, of the ideas. And then the public will vote on the top three. And then the committee involved with that will pick one of the top three, or maybe two, who knows. But the banners are, as you know, they're going to be reflective of Chewila. And the only requirements that we have for the banner is they got to complement the colors that have been chosen to represent Chewila, and they have to have the word Chewila on the banner. Beyond that, it's wide open. So we're really looking forward to see what's going on there. I have no idea how many have been submitted yet. Probably won't know until next week. But I know the traffic on the RFP through the Facebook and the website has been pretty strong. Lots of shares. When I prep for these meetings, I keep thinking what's out there that I'm not mentioning. But the problem is, like right now, I've already used up 20 some odd minutes of just public service announcements of things that are going on.
Yeah, it's cool.
And so when people say there's nothing to do in Chewila, I disagree with that. There may be nothing to do that you want to do at the moment, but you also have to search that out. And the best way to search that out is our good friends at The Independent. They publish a calendar pretty much every week, actually. You can go on a variety of websites, the Creative District website, the Chamber website, and soon to be the Chewila Festival of the Arts website to get dates and activities of things that are going on from that perspective. With the Creative District, the other thing that's happening, first one will be, I believe, in March, is we were able to get some money called Renew Washington grant to bring arts back into schools. And so we're working with Jason Parents, the school superintendent, and the art teacher. There'll be 3 different art classes, 1-week art classes offered at the junior high school. And there'll be printmaking, watercolor, and photography. And so we're looking forward to that. That's all funded by the state. So we want to thank the state, the Arts Commission, to make that grant available. And we're thinking outside the box with that, by the way. I just made the proposal and said, why not? And they came back and said, well, explain it a little bit. And I told them, well, arts in the schools are one of those things that have been cut back pretty dramatically. And so this is a good way to get the exposure. And last night, Jamie said, I think on the photography class, they've already got 20 or 25 people that have expressed an interest for that class in the high school. So,
wow.
Anyway, lots of stuff. I don't know what else to say. I mean, if you want to do something, and then of course, this is the gateway to paradise as far as any kind of outside recreation. And I think that's the term we're trying to figure out how to get in, is Chewila is a gateway. It's a gateway to the arts. It's a gateway to winter sports. It's a gateway to camping, or it's a gateway to recreation of all kinds. And it's starting to be discovered that way. 49 degrees north was listed as the #1 resort destination for pricing relative to skiing capabilities in the nation. That popped up in a newsfeed this last week.
That's good for
Uh,
them.
so good for them, yeah. And I think, like I say, the creative district's been showcased in a variety of different nationwide formats. The casino's moving ahead. The hotel was theoretically going to be open in March, but it's hard to lay asphalt when you got a foot of snow on the ground. So, but it's coming along really, really well, and so that will provide some different opportunities to bring people into town. I mean, it's just it's almost, you could go on and on and on and on. And I'm not, I'm not as well informed as some people would be as far as what's going on down to the granular level inside the community. Yeah, no.
All right. I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised about. I checked to see if they were done with the hotel at the casino coming for my visit, and I'm really surprised that they didn't put the money in for a hotel in Spokane at their casino location there. So Chihuahua's kind of lucky in that aspect because I knew they had plans for one at a time, at one
Right.
time, and of course there's a lot of hotels right in that area in Airway Heights. But I was really surprised that Chihuahua's casino is actually getting a hotel before the one in Spokane.
Yeah.
So
I'm like you. I mean, I went in just a week or two ago to check out what the Airway Heights Spokane Tribe Casino is doing, and they're expanding the casino quite a bit, and they're putting in a big parking garage, but I don't believe their hotel is broken ground yet at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and I know at the hotel, once they get the hotel done and that's all up and running, then the next thing on their project is to build a new casino out there. And then once that's completed, then take the existing casino and convert it over into something. There's things they've talked about anywhere from like a shopping mall to conference room, conference space, that type of thing. And then something that, Greg McCunn, the mayor, had a really good article in the Independent here about a week ago, talking about what's happened in the last year in Chihuahua. And one of the things that jumped out at me, and I think I mentioned this last week, that a year ago there were 8 empty storefronts on Main Street, and now there's only 2.
That's a good
And
sign.
so, yeah, those businesses are coming on. And as you drive through Main Street, you'll see it because they got paper up in the windows. You can't see what's going on inside. But that tells you that outside people are looking at coming to town. And the nice thing about these are smaller entrepreneurial businesses. They're not the big box type environment. And it really, it really helps the community more, in my mind, to have small businesses because they're more engaged in the community. It's kind of like one of those things I saw a long time ago is when's the last time a Costco or a Home Depot or a Lowe's or a Walmart or a Dollar General sponsored your kid's baseball team? It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so those small businesses sometimes I think get beat up a little bit because maybe they don't have enough hours. They're not open enough hours.
We've ran into that with the radio station.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of requirements corporations have to make donations. A lot of times they only do it at the beginning of the year. You've got to submit your request for a donation annually. So you're right. Though a lot of times these big box stores, really, other than jobs and maybe a convenience of not having to drive to the next town, really bring nothing to your town.
Right.
Other than
Exactly.
providing jobs, they really don't bring anything to your town when it's a
Yeah.
corporation. It's nice to have those businesses, and that's one thing that is amazing about the people and the businesses in Chihuahua is, you're talking about all these different nonprofits and all the art they're doing, and you've got so many businesses and people in the town of Chihuahua for a small town that turn right around and spend some of that money they made or some of the money they earn supporting the things that happen in Chihuahua, and that's pretty special. I mean, you could travel down the highway in either direction on 395, and you're not going to find another community that is that supportive of the groups and people within it. So.
I think one of the most telling things jumped out at me on the creative district side, because there's 11 creative districts now in the state. and Chihuahua was number 2, by the way. And I was on a call the other day, and one of the creative districts out there is Tenino, over by Olympia. And George from Tenino, somebody asked him, "What's your vision?" And he says, "Well, when we grow up, we want to be like Chihuahua." So, I mean, and I was thinking about that because I'm also on the committee for rural tourism through TED, and as we're working through that project, it becomes more and more Tooele centric in my mind anyway. And maybe because I got a big mouth and I'm not afraid to, I won't talk about Tooele, but um, but it's if you look at the Tri-County area, really there's only 2 population centers that get a lot of press effectively, and one of them is Tooele and the other one's Caldwell, and both of them in Stevens County. And then Newport's kind of coming on somewhat, but they're kind of over there. They're east of the mountains.
Sorry.
But and so it's kind of like the people that looked at our house yesterday. They were, at least their license plate said they were from Arizona, and so those people are looking to move into a slower paced, progressive environment where they can get everything they have or need, I should say, within a reasonable period of time or a reasonable distance. And Chihuahua's actually fits that extremely well.
There you go. All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Mike Bentz, Nonprofit Roundup. There you go. Let's do this little thing.
You're listening to Northern Lights Public Radio on 102.7 KCHW, Chihuahua, Loon Lake, Clayton.
All right, a few news headlines we gathered up this morning in Connecticut. Connecticut's first round of recreational cannabis sales for adults 21 and older kicked off yesterday at 7 existing medical marijuana establishments across the state, turning recreational. It's less than 2 years after Governor Ned Lamont signed legislation making Connecticut the latest state to legalize retail sales. I thought this was cute. By the end of the first day, state regulators said more than $250,000 in marijuana had been sold. And if they've got a 20% tax on that or more, that's a nice little chunk of cash for the state. There you go.
That's right.
All right. Talked about this later. The 8 foods that things you might have a hard time finding in the next year or be paying a pretty penny for, like you are your eggs. I thought this egg thing was just something about the East Coast because I asked about it a few months ago. I was used to getting my eggs in Chihuahua for $3 a dozen, and I'm paying $6 or more. And I said, what's the deal with eggs in Maine? And the lady looks at me and she goes, well, most of us have our own chickens.
Well, you could do that.
I could. I literally could.
You could put a chicken coop beside the space module and,
Yeah. I just don't like the smell that comes along with those birds. All right. So,
that's true.
So a big thing is reported by the internet outlet Mashed Bread. With the continuation of Russia's war in Ukraine, by the way, this is just a note, it accounts for 20% of the global cereal grain production, Ukraine does. Many bakeries and factories may struggle to obtain the necessary ingredients to make bread, leading to a potential shortage in 2023. Sunflower and palm oil, if you use those. According to the Brookings Institute, in 2020, 52% of globally traded sunflower seed oil came from Ukraine. This and they're devastating that country's infrastructure too. So even if the war ended tomorrow, how do they get all this stuff out and rebuild their highway? It's a nightmare. Currently, edible oil supply chains are disrupted, and edible oil prices increased even higher than cereal prices, according to the research group, making the issue more complicated. They also reported that there's a simultaneous palm oil shortage in Indonesia. Since Indonesia is the world's leading producer of palm oil, any ongoing supply issues only compound the potential problem of vegetable oil availability in 2023. Next on the list of 8, this one might not have as much of an effect on people. Production of due to climate change, production of champagne has been greatly impacted, meaning it might not be as easy to access in the next year. Publication that wrote that a rash of extreme weather in 2021 resulted in devastating number of crops growing fungus, leading to smaller than average crop yields. What crops do they use for champagne?
Grapes.
Okay, is it grapes? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Things in cans. Notable aluminum shortage, which began in 2020 and affects beers, canned food, and also pet food, still happening. I've seen this on the shelves in pet departments where you walk in and you're like, really? There's 3 kinds of cat food to choose from? This isn't going to work for poor old Mooch. Television station also recently indicated that labor shortages, the pandemic, and ongoing supply chain crises and increased demand are all to blame. As far as the aluminum shortage ending, experts are hesitant with predictions. Company Vincent Metal suggested most agree the earliest expected end would be sometime in 2023 as the nation moves back toward normalcy. Yeah, whatever. Aluminum purchasing could subside and have certain impacts on supply chain. In the meantime, additional production plants are being constructed, actually, to keep up with the high demand and current shortage of aluminum cans. I'm going to interject before we go on with a few more and give some credit where credit is due. Back in 2020, after the first lockdown and we went back on the air, Mr. Mike Bantz, if you're watching online, the guy on the other screen, told us that through this COVID, we would have supply chain disruptions. I mean, you predicted this. Now, it took him about a year to start. But, or for supplies, I guess probably what it was is a supply thing where we had the supplies and we burned through them. But you were totally right, Mike. Supply chain shortages.
My crystal ball worked that day.
It did. Another thing, and this one has no particular impact on me because I think it's the most disgusting vegetable out there, lettuce. And what eat some spinach. Come on. Lettuce really has no nutritional value, so I don't know if we have to get too worried about this. Price of lettuce went up nearly 20%. Many customers currently have difficulty finding lettuce in grocery stores. A website called Eat This says it's been sparked by an unforgiving disease called impatens necrotic spot virus, INSV, which is carried by insects and often results in the death of the affected plant. The disease, the outlet added, spread quickly across California's Salinas Valley, a major producer of nearly 50% of the country's lettuce production, and destroyed over 80% of the crops in 2022. Next one might surprise you. Another produce seems affected, corn. All right, Midwest corn crops endured a brutal 2022 season full of sweltering temperatures. We remember last summer. Intense storms, harmful pests. Around August, the publication notes experts found many crops to either be destroyed or unable to be harvested within the region. States such as Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Nebraska, and South Dakota showing dismal yields, which trailed numbers from the year prior. While the United States is the world's largest producer of corn, aluminum exports from other countries such as Brazil and Ukraine again during the growing season are going to cause problems. Let's see. Last one, oranges and orange juice due to Hurricane Ian. Orange production expected to drop 51% because of the damage to trees. That's huge. We're going to lose half the supply of orange juice. That's kind of weird. Also, a disease called citrus greening has run rampant through Florida's crops over the last years. An expert in the citrus industry says the loss from hurricanes is most recoverable, but the greater issue is the disease of the orange trees. So. And last one is beef. Texas, our biggest beef producing state, experienced an extreme drought for much of the summer season. Many ranchers forced to sell off sizable amounts of their cattle, which caused slaughter levels to escalate. And you notice we had that meat shortage, and then all of a sudden there was plenty of meat. Look for that shortage to possibly be coming back because of all the animals that were culled.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, almost everything you talk about is, if you look at like a grandfather clock with the pendulum, it goes extreme one way and the extreme the other way, and then eventually it kind of centers itself. And it'll just take time. I mean, and And so I think I'm listening to all these shortages and I'm thinking, okay, what isn't in short? What is shortage? Uh, and that there again, you talked about the supply chain issue, and that's still there. I mean, part of the problem that we have as a society, in my opinion, is all of this just-in-time inventory stuff. So there's no backup warehousing effectively. And so a good example is the Safeway store here. I mean, they order stuff in on a weekly basis. And so if they come in on a Tuesday, which I believe the truck comes in on Tuesday night, and they happen to be out of lettuce, then that's a shortage because there was no warehousing of it somewhere. And I think that's changing somewhat. I think some of the larger manufacturers, especially, or maybe even some of the smaller ones, are starting to build inventory to support the cycling of things. And that's going to be healthy for the economy, by the way. That's why people are going to stay employed. But, it's just, I think back and try to think if there was another time similar to this. And there was, I mean, in the mid 70s, it was very similar to this. I think in the early 80s was very similar to this. So it's not new. It's just new to a whole lot of people that weren't around or were too young then to experience it. But, and frankly, the information sources are so much stronger anymore that it's almost like just-in-time news. And as you know, and most people know, just-in-time news is just full of misinformation and flat lies and rumors and everything else. But so it's like anything. I mean, you take a look at what you read with a grain of salt until you've read several articles around the same thing, and then make an informed decision. And Facebook's probably not the best place to get that information.
Yeah, don't make an informed decision from Facebook. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's a new analysis that's kind of add a positive twist to things because there's lots of jobs out there for this. It says, what's the best job in America? Pays at least $120,000 a year, offers low stress and a healthy work-life balance, and the answer is software developer. Always a growth market there.
Always, and nothing else because of built-in obsolescence.
Yes.
If you stay on top of your game there, you'll always be in need. And I just remember the company I worked for. They for years they built their own processes internally, and they used COBOL. And of course, as you know, that's an antique software language.
Very much
and
so.
So the people that understood and used COBOL basically had jobs for life. And in fact, I've got a good friend of mine here in Chewelah. He understood that and worked for one of the schools in Spokane, and he was in sought after demand even after he retired because he understood that language because they had not bothered to upgrade their systems.
I read a story from NASA that they had to go out and actively search for 70s software developers because they had something they wanted to access and there was nobody that knew the language anymore. So,
right, exactly.
That's funny.
Yeah. So it's like, it's something I've always believed in, and I tell my kids is when you start thinking you're smarter than the system, you don't have to continue educating yourself is the beginning of the end.
All right, before we go to break, I'm going to take a few minutes and ask you some trivia questions, Mike.
All
right. First up, though, trending on Twitter, hashtag my last words in 5 words. All right. So these will be the last words before you die in 5 words.
Okay.
It's definitely the red wine. This one's totally random. Why is the oven door open? Right before you croak. All right. This could be also a famous last 5 words. Hold my beer. Watch this. Oh, man. Please delete my browsing history. Oops, I did it again. And the last one, my last words in 5 words. I prefer dollar store antibiotics. I don't even think those are a thing, but okay, here we go. Trivia.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
In fact, Mike, I'm going to brain tease you. All right?
Uh-oh.
A brain tease. All right. This is really bad, too. A clerk in a butcher shop is 5 foot 10 inches tall. What does he weigh?
A clerk in the butcher shop is 5'10" inches tall. What does he weigh?
Yeah.
Meat.
Yes. Oh. Wow. That was, I thought I would have you with that. All right. Each year, this organization uses almost 150,000 pounds of peanut butter. Who are they?
150,000 pounds of peanut butter?
Yeah. For fundraising.
For fundraising. I don't know, the Peanut Group.
It's an organization. They do fundraising with goodies, and they're going to use 150,000 pounds of peanut butter.
Girl Scout cookies.
I'll give you that one. Yeah, there you go. And it's a swing and almost a miss. All right. Average one of these travels at about 3 miles per hour.
That's 3 miles per hour.
Yes.
I'm going to say a human, actually.
Average one of these travels at about 3 miles per hour. Let's see. Vertically.
Oh, vertically. Vertically, so it goes up.
Yes.
A balloon.
Ooh, you're kind of warm, but it's not a balloon. Much smaller.
Oh, much smaller. Like a bubble.
Looking for snowflake.
Oh, well, they don't go up.
One of these travels at about 3 miles per hour. Snowflake. Did I say? I said it travels vertically.
Oh, yeah, that could be up or down.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You're trying to corner me now. Got all these sound effects just waiting for you there, buddy. That would have been really good to do. So this popped up right above trivia. It's tweets from the last Blockbuster. And this one says, "We poured a bunch of CBD on the popcorn. Is that something you'd be interested in?" We'll do anything to get someone to come in and rent a movie.
Rent a movie.
Oh, man. Our average American consumer spend about $160 on this year. And it's upcoming.
$160. Oh, either Mother's Day or Easter.
Back it up.
Oh, we back it up even more?
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
There you go. If you're a common housefly, you'll do this about 17 days after you're born.
Die.
And it'll sound just like that if you're a housefly. I thought they only lived 3 days. 17. That's and I never thought I never thought 3 was correct either, because I was like, that fly's been between the window screen and the pane for at least a week and he's still buzzing around.
Right.
All right. 4% of adults say they have never done this while watching a movie.
Never done it?
Never done it.
Gone to the concession stand.
No. This could even happen at the theater or in your home. 4% of adults say they've never done this while watching a movie.
Fall asleep.
No, sir.
Have a beer.
No, sir. Last chance.
Ooh. Last chance, huh?
Yeah.
Only 4%, so it's a real small percentage. They pirated it.
No, I did this when Spock died in Star Trek II. Cry.
Cry. Oh, okay.
4% of adults say they've never cried during a movie. These are the heartless people. Really? You've never cried?
Yeah.
All right. This is called The Last, this game, and it's the last for you, too, all right? I'm gonna say things that are last, and you have to give me the word. The last name of the guy who shot Abraham Lincoln.
Booth.
The last letter of the alphabet.
Z.
The last man to set foot on the moon.
Grisham.
No, sir.
Wasn't Armstrong, was it?
No. I've never even heard of this man.
Well, those are the only two I can remember.
His first name is Eugene.
That still doesn't help me.
All right. Ciernan is what we were looking for.
Oh.
Last completed Indiana Jones movie. He's got a new one coming out.
Temple of Doom.
No, I think it was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I might be wrong on that one because this is an older trivia set I'm going from.
Okay.
All right. The last blockbuster, since I did that joke, last blockbuster in the world is in this state.
I'm going to say like Wyoming.
Oregon.
Oregon, okay.
Yeah. And just a couple more tweets from them. It says, we may not be financially rich, but we're rich in available parking spaces. This is from the one in Oregon.
Okay.
And then another one says, the tissues by the registers aren't free. I don't know where people got this idea. And the last one from the Blockbuster in Oregon. If you're coming into the store today, try not to breathe and don't ask why. That's disgusting, isn't it?
You know, I got to tell you a cute story. The other day, my daughter sent Loretta and me just a nice little gift box. And in that gift box is a CD. And we looked at it and said, okay, where are we going to play this?
Ooh.
And so I'm thinking of calling my daughter and say, why did you get us a CD? Nothing we have plays a CD anymore. And she'll say something like, well, it's because you're old.
You just got to tell her we're hip, older people. And
that's right.
Why couldn't you send us a flash drive or something digital?
That's right.
So you don't have a CD drive in any of your computers?
Nope. Well, I do. You're right, in my laptop. So I guess I could theoretically play it on my laptop. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Also, do you have a DVD player?
Yes.
A DVD player will play a CD. So
really?
We're back to,
okay.
Oh my God, he's really old.
But I couldn't even tell you the last time we used the DVD player.
There you go. Dust it off.
I mean, between Netflix and Alexa and Hulu and, why would you have that stuff anymore?
That's right. All right, check it out. Your DVD player should play a CD. We will be back with odd news and more. It's Scott and Mike on a Wednesday. Part 2 is all the fun stuff. Stick around. It's KCHW 102.7. Be back in 5. Maybe 7. Possibly 10.
Hooray.
Yeah.
It's 8:26.
Your KCHW morning show is made possible by donations from Chihuahua Flooring. Chihuahua Flooring at 214 East Clay in the 3rd Street Mall offers a wide variety of products, including carpet, ceramic and porcelain tile, vinyl and laminate planks, and vinyl sheet flooring. Chihuahua Flooring carries products for both commercial businesses and residential homes, including brands like Southwind, Deltile, Mannington, and Mohawk. For more information, you can visit online at chihuahuaflooring.com. Call 509-935-8021 or via email through chihuahuaflooring@gmail.com.
Your KCHW morning show made possible by a donation from God-Fearing Brothers Auto Center. God-Fearing Brothers specializes in auto services, including repair, maintenance, and detailing. They also stock a full selection of tires, make glass repairs, offer towing, and have an auto sales lot on the corner of Highway 395 and Main Street at the light. For more information, you can visit the Auto Service Center at 806 East Main in Chihuahua. Find them online at godfearingbrothers.com or by phone at 509-935-6414. KCHW FM thanks God-fearing brothers for supporting public radio in Stevens County.
Picture this. It's January 2022. Your New Year's resolution is to get healthier, but you don't know where to start and you keep putting it off. Next thing you know, it's January 2023. Where did the last year go? You decide this is the year you are really going to prioritize your health. But once again, you just don't know where to start. Let New Health help. New Health is committed to promoting health and wellness within our communities by providing integrated, open access healthcare for all. From your medical, dental, pharmacy, or behavioral health needs, we have what you need to get started, and we will be with you every step of the way as you move through your healthcare journey. Contact us today at 509-935-6004. New Health, celebrating 45 years of bringing healthcare into communities and communities into healthcare.
This is KCHW, Chewelah, 102.7 FM.
You're listening to 102.7 KCHW, Chewelah.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Australia's highest-ranking Catholic, Cardinal George Pell, has died at the age of 81 from heart complications after hip surgery. A conviction for child abuse charges was quashed in 2020, but a civil lawsuit was still underway. Sean Bindley reports from Brisbane.
A civil case launched by the father of a former choir boy who was allegedly sexually abused by Cardinal Pell in Melbourne will continue. The law firm representing the man will progress the claim against the church and whatever estate Cardinal Pell has left behind. Convictions against Pell were quashed in 2019 after he'd served over a year of his 6-year sentence in prison. A service will be held in the Vatican in the coming days and then at Sydney's St Mary's Cathedral. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says it's a difficult day for many people of the Catholic faith.
This was a hip operation, and the consequences of it, unfortunately, have been that Cardinal Pell has lost his life.
In Brisbane, I'm Sean Bindley.
Judicial authorities in Brazil have ordered several public officials be arrested after the storming of government buildings at the weekend. The riots came a week after the swearing-in of President Lula following October elections. Ambulance workers in parts of the UK are on strike over pay and staffing. The government's asking people only to call for an ambulance in an emergency. Unions say the industrial action is necessary because of ministers' refusal to negotiate on bigger pay rises than currently on offer for health workers. Health Secretary Steve Barclay says the lack of a national plan from unions to guarantee minimum service levels for the strike shows why new legislation is needed.
Unfortunately, the ambulance unions have refused to do so and have insisted on having local arrangements. And of course, that makes it much more difficult for the government to put in place contingency measures to protect patient safety on strike days. So that's why we're looking at the legislation as a safety net.
After India's Joshimath, another town in the Himalayas, is developing potentially fatal cracks, raising concerns it might also start sinking. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
Cracks in the neighboring areas of Joshimath is now raising concerns about wider destabilization of the region. A report from the Indian Institute of Remote Sensing has found that areas around Joshimath in the middle Himalayas have been sinking 2.5 inches for at least the past 2 years. Locals in the area blame a government power project in the region, alleging that the construction there, along with highways and tall buildings, has put too much pressure on the loose Himalayan soil. More than 110 families have been evacuated in the area so far, and officials say more relief work is being carried out as authorities demolish permanently damaged buildings to relieve the pressure on the land. Ishan Garg, New Delhi.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, the uncompromising words of one of the world's leading humanitarian aid chiefs about the repression of women in Afghanistan. Jan Egeland is a former Under-Secretary General of the United Nations. Today, he runs the Norwegian Refugee Council. It has been one of the principal sources of humanitarian assistance in Afghanistan, but has now shut its operations down after the Taliban said its female staff, along with those employed by other NGOs, were no longer permitted to work. So Mr. Egeland is in Kabul trying to get the Taliban to change their minds.
Without our female colleagues, we cannot work. We will not work. We are not able to provide for the women of Afghanistan. but we would also not be a principal employer if we agreed to this. We are not giving aid to the hundreds of thousands of people we serve here in Afghanistan. And it's raining, it's snowing, it's miserable. And not to give them aid is so painful for us.
He's had a series of talks with Taliban officials since he arrived on Sunday and has secured support for his campaign from several foreign embassies in the Afghan capital. But there is no sign yet that the Taliban are ready to capitulate, putting more than 2 million Afghans who have relied on aid from Mr. Egeland's organisation at risk. I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Australia's highest-ranking Catholic, Cardinal George Pell, has died at the age of 81. Judicial authorities in Brazil have ordered several public officials be arrested after the storming of government buildings at the weekend. Ambulance workers in parts of the UK are on strike over pay and staffing. And after India's Joshimath, another town in the Himalayas is developing cracks, raising concerns it might also start sinking. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
KCHW 102.7. We make it so easy to listen to Northern Lights Public Radio. Of course, in your car. Online through our websites at kchw.org or northernlightspublicradio.com. We're on your smartphone, too. Use the Radio Deck or TuneIn app. And now we're even on Amazon. If you've got the new Amazon Echo with the Alexa app, just say, "Alexa, play KCHW," and boom, you're there. We're mixing it up. Old school radio or new modern technology. It's always KCHW 102.7.
And we're back. It's KCHW 102.7. Hope you got to enjoy the cat cam. And
I did, actually. Mooch is looking pretty good.
She is, I don't know how she got up here, but it's not a good place for the cat to be. She thinks she needs more food. And during the break, I gave her a little food, and she decided, I think, that wasn't enough, and she's actually going to get up on my desk. And she's old and crippled, so that's quite the accomplishment just for her to get up here. She must be really, really hungry. All right. All right, let's see. We could put a cat's butt on the camera. There you go.
That's right. There you go.
Yeah. She's doing pretty good after her cancer treatment, though. She recovered nicely. So
do you have to give any additional medication to her?
No. And people that have had the thyroid treatment where you take the radioactive iodine are probably fairly familiar with what that goes through. I think it was a few weeks ago I was on the air, and I don't know if anybody caught it, but there's a window behind me, and it's usually got a curtain on it so you don't see the light coming through it, and it gives kind of a nice black background. But I was on the air a few days ago, and she decided to get in that window, which has a lip less than of a 4 inches, on the windowsill, and it's a really slippery wood. It's glazed. And she got up in that window and went to turn around and fell and broke her fall because she got tangled up in the curtain, and everything slowly came out of the wall and she went down to the ground.
I think actually it was during our show when she did that. I remember that.
Yep, and she's trying it again. All right. It's like having a toddler in the show. All right. Come on. Would you just go? Really? And now she's in front of my screen. This is real fun, Mike. All right, let's start off with celebrity birthdays at the top of our cheat sheet today. Mike, will you kick that off for us for the 11th?
I will. We only have a few today.
Okay.
Must not be a popular day. We have Tim Coles from Living Single is 61. I have no idea who that is.
I do not either. Hold on.
Okay. we have Kyle Richards from The Real Housewives is 54. And now we're getting to at least two people that I know who they are. We have Mary J. Blige, who is 52. And we're going to finish up with Amanda Pete at 51.
Got rid of the cat and just in time. It happened today.
See, I was able to move on with Scott without Scott being in the window.
That was awesome. That was totally awesome. All right. It happened today. We like to call it history, and we will start off with Amelia Earhart and the year 1935, when she became the first woman to fly solo from Hawaii to California. On to 1964, U.S. Surgeon General Luther Terry reported smoking may be hazardous to one's health. This was the first such statement from the U.S. government. On to 1974, world's first surviving set of sextuplets, 6 kids born to Susan Rosenkowitz in Cape Town, South Africa. 91, a man walked into a New York garage and asked the mechanic to hold his lion for a minute. That's what I was just doing. He'd be right back. The guy never came back, and the 150-pound lion club wound up at a wildlife preserve. Wow. Way to abandon your lion.
Right.
And who would say yes to that? Hey, could you hold my 150-pound lion for me?
Lion, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Hopefully he was in a cage.
I watched a movie and the other night, and a guy kept a lion in his spare bedroom. I mean, a full-grown lion, a male lion in his spare bedroom because he was afraid of the police. And later on in the movie, the bad guys are all in the room, and they say, "Where's the Mona Lisa?" Because he's hiding, a famous painting supposedly somewhere in the building. And he says it's in that room. And, of course, the bad guy opens the door with the lion. And earlier in the show, he tells you that the lion hates cops. And the bad guys were dressed as cops. So it just didn't go very well for him. All right. 2009, one of the world's most famous chocolate makers, Cadbury, announced it would warn chocolate lovers that its products contain milk. Cadbury said it was necessary to print warnings in capital letters in yellow boxes saying contains milk. Because people who are allergic to milk did not realize there's milk in milk chocolate.
That's kind of like I saw something the other day where some of the pizza delivery boxes now have printed on them, "Please don't eat the box."
Wow.
Or the other one that pops up all the time is in the warnings when you get your car, things not to do is "Please don't drink the battery acid."
Wow.
And I'm thinking people ought to do that. Probably should drink the battery acid.
And the sad part of that is they had to do that because somebody at some point sued them.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was water. I just picked up the battery and drank it.
Right, exactly.
2020, Diego the giant, 100-year-old tortoise, retired after his high libido was credited with saving his species. I think most guys would like that. I saved the species. He lived for years at the San Diego Zoo and then on Santa Cruz Island and Galapagos before retiring there. Diego fathered more than 900 offspring. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. On to special events. What? Go ahead.
Okay. Well, the first one, cigarettes are hazardous to your health day.
Really?
I wonder where you heard that. Oh, this one everybody ought to know. Learn your name in Morse code day.
Okay. ... If I was going to learn one thing in Morse code, I think it would be help.
Help? That's like SOS, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, ... dash, dash, ...
I'm saying, I'm not getting SOS. All I get is this guy's name named Mike.
Oh, and then this one is a hot toddy day.
That sounds like a way to relax.
It does. Okay, and then we have Human Trafficking Awareness Day, Milk Day, and the last one, which you can do in Chihuahua this afternoon, is Step in a Puddle and Splash Your Friend Day.
Oh, hey, there's some stuff on the way to school. Or perhaps do it in a car.
That's true.
So if you see somebody today, Mike,
that is. Yeah. Have you ever done that?
I have never done that, but it is very tempting. I've had it done. I've had it done to me though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Number of the day, 22 million. It's the cost in dollars to create one episode of the Yellowstone prequel series 1923 starring Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford, and that is not a paid announcement, even though it sounded like one. All right. We are going... Oh, I think there was one thing in Bits and Breaks I was going to throw out, and then we're going to move on to wrapping up the show with a little odd news. This one, how women test men. All right. Like it or not, women are always looking for subtle clues to discover if the guy they are with is Mr. Right or Mr. Totally Wrong. Here are a few tests for you guys out there and how to pass each. So I'm gonna take this to heart. The family test. If you remember things about her family, mention them on a later date. If you don't remember, just ask her. You'll score points by showing a sincere interest. There you go. Guess these are dating tips. The gift test. In the first months, it's the thought that counts. Choose little gifts that demonstrate your attention to things she has mentioned. This means you have to pay attention, guys.
That's right. You have to listen.
Yes. The wait for her to open the door test. Never speed off while she's left there fumbling for her house keys. Watch from the car to see her go inside the house before leaving. Or, I'd like to add to this one, just walk up to the door with her. Give her a goodnight kiss.
That's right.
The waiter test. She watches how you interact with total strangers, how to treat others, especially strangers, as a reflection of how personable and down to earth you are. That's why when you're on a date, never complain about having to wear the mask. The Ask Me Later test. This is a sneaky one. The two of you are out for dinner, and she leans over and says, "Remind me to tell you something later." Write a note on your hand if you have to, but don't forget to follow through. And the last one is the I had a bad day test. If she comes home complaining, or she's complaining about what a horrible day she's had, let her vent and don't suggest solutions. Simply reassure her that she'll feel better in the morning. And that's a tip for, I think, in any relationship, marriage or whatever. Don't try and fix it. They don't like that for some reason.
Yeah.
But we want to fix it because we're men.
We're men. We're fixers.
We're fixers. At least we like to think we are. Except when it comes to maybe plumbing. Right? Are you good at plumbing, Mike?
I'm actually pretty good at plumbing.
All right. Don't hire it out or nothing. Wow.
No, as I gotten older, I hire it out.
Oh, there, smart guy. All right, wrapping up our show.
Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go. We're burning daylight.
It's the world of strange. A world gone wacky.
Out here, due process is a bullet.
And some of the scariest people on the planet.
I think you're bluffing. Be afraid. You know, you look mighty pretty when you get mad.
It's your odd news on KCHW.
Just sit back and enjoy the show.
Woo! Here we go. A news attack is how we kick off our odd news. First sentence true. Second sentence, bad joke. Mike Bentz, you're up.
Hey, did you know an insurrectionist who goes by the name Baked Alaska is going to prison?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, where Baked Alaska is definitely not on the menu.
Scientists say noise pollution causes extreme stress in birds. So when you go outside, please turn down your music. Birds don't want to hear the birds. Eagles don't want to hear the eagles. And owls don't want to hear the who. It's bad.
That is bad.
Oh, no! We suck again!
Sorry.
Well, speaking of bad, did you hear the flu is pretty bad this year?
I did not.
Even so, it's still more popular than Congress.
Researchers from Harvard University have identified 4 common health eating patterns that can help reduce the risk of early death by up to 20%. And I'm going to guess the 4 aren't the taco pattern, the French fry pattern, or the burrito pattern, or the waffle pattern. Darn it.
The problem is all 4 of those I like.
Yes.
I just haven't figured out how to put them in a pattern.
French fries. French fries. McDonald's French fries are my doom.
Okay.
All right.
I'd have to say anytime I can get a waffle is my doom.
I haven't. I'm really curious. I don't think I want to eat one. Well, I want one, but I want to taste the chicken and waffle thing. I've never heard. It's just I've never tried it. I heard
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I've had it twice, and one time I didn't like it. The other one was really good, and really the only difference was the one that was really good was crispy chicken on a waffle.
All right.
You know, but it's not one of those things I'd probably go in. It was more of just try it and see if I like it.
Do you still
But
have
it's pretty
butter?
popular.
You still have butter and syrup on the waffle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I figured
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's go to the workplace. 64% of the people don't tell coworkers when good snacks are on the break room table. I want to know who those people are. Your station, your station, KCHW. Okay.
Okay.
So I can use the last square of toilet paper on the bathroom before they go in.
Oh.
Oh, that's one of my pet peeves.
Study says that people who go to bed earlier have fewer worries. That's because they don't see the late news.
I would agree with that.
Way to stretch yourself out before bed. Watch the news.
That's right. Okay. According to another study, neuroscientists say that we can have what they are calling emotional hangovers. Much like alcoholic hangovers, but they're more crying and less vomiting. Unless you're one of that 15% that don't cry in the movies.
That's 4%.
4%.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
All right. I've already broken my New Year's resolution. You know how hard it is to go the entire day without yelling at Fox News?
I don't think I've ever watched Fox News.
Well.
Oh, maybe I'll have to do that just to see what it's all about.
Oh, yeah. You should. Well, just don't do it before bed. That's all I can say. On to the world of wacky but true. We don't add anything to these stories but movie sound effects. First one is you, Mike. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right.
Okay? All right. Okay, a 36-year-old woman was found rolling around with her pants down in the Nashville intersection just before 10 a.m. on Saturday.
That's not a happy sight.
That's what I'm thinking. Okay, officers arrived to witness this and noticed she was extremely intoxicated. They attempted to assist her. She began to stumble towards a nearby grocery store. She was accompanied by her boyfriend and another gentleman, neither who felt they could properly care for her in her current state. So she was taken into custody and charged with public intoxication.
And once again, that was 10 a.m.
10 a.m., yeah, in Nashville.
Yeah.
An intersection.
Here's what she had to say after being arrested.
I haven't found this good since I can't remember when.
And then one of the gentlemen that was with her nephew.
My Nana takes her wig off when she's drunk.
Okay. Guy from Liverpool, England, was sentenced to 13 years and 6 months in prison for conspiring to supply drugs after police used a picture on an encrypted device of a block of cheese he was holding to analyze his fingerprints. Wow, it's that easy? Picture was discovered on EncroChat, an exclusive criminal messaging service. The incident is the latest example of criminals meeting with misfortune due to accidental errors and unfortunate digital circumstances. Guy's palm and fingerprints were analyzed from the photo, and it was established they actually belonged to that drug dealer. So, all right, here's a message.
Under the cows.
Yes, here's a message for him, though.
I want the kids in bed by night. I want the dog fed, the yard watered, and the gate locked. And get a note to the milkman. No more cheese.
That's right. Taking my fingerprints with it.
Well, the last cows part of Quebec's runaway herd cows were captured and returned home on Saturday.
Okay.
The herd of more than 20 dairy cows had been on the run since July. Boy, that's a long time.
It is.
When they were spooked by the summer thunderstorm on a dairy farm. Since then, they've been contently grazing wherever they liked and wreaking havoc on the farmers' fields nearby.
Well, looks like the cows have come home to roost.
A long vacation for those cows. So we had the same problem when I got here to Indiana. I'm kind of up north, about the distance from Spokane to Chewelah to a big town. But about halfway up here on the freeway, it says danger, loose cows. And it's a digital sign that's flashing. They finally took it down, and my son-in-law is a newspaper reporter, and he told me the story. He said a herd of cows had gotten loose early this spring, and they finally rounded up the last one. The problem is that the cows were out so long, they became feral and had to be put down.
Ooh, okay.
So wild cows. All right. So here in Maine, we have this.
Fresh from America's dairyland, the man-eating cow.
Feral cows. That's right. You heard it here, folks. Let's see. Police in South Africa say a man walked into their station house to report that he'd been held up at gunpoint by a gang who stole his phone. But when the detectives called the phone number that was reportedly stolen, it rang in his pants.
So all of it was a lie?
Well, yeah. No, wait. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it all was a lie.
It was a lie.
All right. Well, we had an absent-minded German doctor that got in trouble forgetting about a patient and going home. Sometimes I've sat in a doctor's office and thought that.
Yes. Did they all leave?
They all leave? Boy, these four walls are starting to close in on me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, the doctor anesthetized an elderly patient so he could carry out a checkup and left her to recover while he went home to his nearby apartment for a quick shower. But the 76-year-old woke up in an empty and locked doctor's office and had to call police for help.
Oh. She recovered, though, and afterwards she had this to say.
The guy with the rubber glove was surprisingly gentle.
Oh, sounds like a guy. All right. Last story. Consider yourself lucky. When Nick and Shiana Day of Lakeland, Florida got engaged, he gave her a diamond ring. But according to Nick, she came to me one day and said, I think I lost my ring. She said it was on the counter and now it's gone. She thought it might have gotten flushed down the toilet. The couple searched hard for the ring. Shania even climbed into the septic tank.
Oh, jeez.
To go through it, strainer, but couldn't find the ring. 21 years later, step forward. Nick's mother decided to replace her toilet, and the plumber found the ring stuck inside. Nick's parents cleaned it up, wrapped it, and gave it to the couple for Christmas in a jewelry box shaped like a toilet. Now, I know the first thing you're wondering.
What is that smell? Oh,
That's the smell of desire, my lady.
God, no, it smells like a used diaper filled with Indian food. Oh, excuse me.
You know, desire smells like that to some people.
All right. And then I thought, when you pulled that ring out of the toilet.
The ring has awoken. It's heard its master's call.
All right. That's all I got. Thank you, Mike Benz, for being here today.
You bet.
All right. Tomorrow, we'll get a little crazy. It's Put On Your Dunce Camp Day with the three amigos. That's Alan Milani, Chuck Ritchie, and myself, Scott Allen. Hope you can join us then about 7:20. And Mike, any closing words?
Oh, yeah, man. Just remember all the things happening. Go to the website for the Chihuahua Center for the Arts, and there's a whole raft of things going on through March. We got the Light in the Darkness gallery showing coming up at the golf course on the 21st, which is next Saturday. And we have Winterfest coming on board with all kinds of fun activities and things to do for the day. Man, beyond that, there's just, well, as we listen to the show, there's a lot of stuff going on. How's that sound?
Yep, you always catch the rebroadcast. The first part, we always do the nonprofit roundup, and you catch that today in just a few minutes. They will post to today's video. We'll post to Facebook and YouTube. Just search KCHW Radio. And then just a side note, don't forget kids start Stage Time Theater today for the SpongeBob Jr., and that's 3:15 today, I believe, for the grade schoolers, and then the junior high schoolers come on at 5 o'clock. All right, there you go. Get out and support some theater locally. Here we go. It's KCHW 102.7. Thank you, Mike. And the rest of you keep on listening and have a great day.
Right. Bye.
Bye.
I want the kids in bed by night. I want the dog fed, the yard watered, and the gate locked. And get a note to the milkman. No more cheese.
So all of it was a lie?
Well, yeah. No, wait. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it all was a lie.
Hail to the king, baby.
You're listening to Northern Lights Public Radio.